Mr. George.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
Hello, perfect. So, are we ready to start the presentation on IELTS?
Yes.
Perfect. So, before we start, I'll just introduce myself quickly. Have you sorted my screen? Is everything okay there?
Yeah, it's very clear.
Perfect. Hello, welcome all of you. Salam alaikum. My name's George. I'm from London and I've been teaching English since 2013. I have a TEFL certificate, CELTA TESOL. I've also taught some business English, but my speciality is exam preparation, especially Cambridge exams and IELTS. Okay, so today I'm going to give a little presentation about IELTS. What is IELTS? Okay, so let me just share my screen here. Just 1 second. Got a couple of technical issues here, but all sorted. Okay, so share my screen. All right, and present. So IELTS stands for the International English Language Testing System. Okay, and it is mainly focused towards a more British and Australian one, not so much American. However, this is also a valid qualification for anyone wanting to study or to work in America. So I'm here in partnership with Bedayat, and it's a pleasure to start this journey with this new platform, and I will be taking hands of the English teaching here. So this course that we have planned and that we are introducing to you is a 2-month intensive course, okay? And it consists of 2 90-minute lessons every week. So every week, there'll be 2 lessons of 1.5 hours. And this is going to be preparing you over 16 sessions, okay, over 8 weeks in order to prepare you for the exam day. I'm going to provide all of the materials that you need. Yeah, these are in-class presentations, which we will be doing on Zoom. And don't worry, you will not be muted when we have our lessons. It's a shame that you're muted today, but there are a lot of people present, so we're keeping it easy. I will also provide you with past papers. So these are old exams for you to complete, and a lot of homework as well, because we will be doing a lot of work during the class time, but I also expect you to be doing your homework and offline activities in order to prepare you, because if not, only 2 lessons every week would not be enough. We need to make this part of your life for the following 2 months from the start of the course. I'll also be providing you with a lot of feedback, especially with writing, okay, because this is where it's harder to find feedback online or elsewhere. So I will be providing you one-on-one feedback, individual feedback with your writing tasks. You'll also learn techniques that you need for each part of the exam, and I'll give you some tips and tricks that can include the ones on exam day, even what things to eat before your exam and how to prepare yourself mentally. At the end of the day, my objective is for you to achieve the necessary knowledge so that you get the result that you want. Of course, we're going to be dealing with classrooms that are from 3 to 8 people, and I've got a lot of experience managing classes with different levels. So I will make sure that everyone will try and achieve the level they want or higher. So I will sort that out depending on everyone's level. But most people who apply will be of a similar level anyway, and with similar ambitions and academic goals. All right, so just a quick presentation here, the overview of this presentation. I'm going to be looking at do we take IELTS academic or general? And what's the difference, you might be asking? Although we are going to focus on academic, and I will tell you why. Then the structure, how it's scored, what our course will look like, and then we'll give some room for questions at the end. So as I'm speaking, perhaps it might be a good idea to write down some questions or type them on the chat for us to look at and discuss at the end of my presentation. Okay, so academic or general. Academic is used for university applications and for job offers. General is more for some CVs, some jobs, immigration, visas. However, academic has more weight. It's more powerful. It's more important, and you will learn more with the academic. The only difference between academic and general is the reading and the writing. Okay, listening and speaking are exactly the same. General, it has a different part one of the writing, which is a bit easier, and academic, we're looking at graphs, statistics, bar charts, and then one of the questions is different in the reading. But anyway, this is not the most important. The most important is to know the test structure. So the start of the test, you'll be practicing your listening. So the listening consists of 30 minutes. Then we have the reading, which will be reading 3 parts, and those are 60 minutes in total. Writing, 2 parts, one 20 minutes, one 40 minutes, and that will be another hour. And then finally, the speaking. All speaking exams are individual, not like Cambridge. First certificate, advanced, proficiency, these are all in a group. IELTS is individual. It will just be you with the examiner. And this will be consistent of 3 parts, and that can be from 11 to 14 minutes. So yeah, calculate about 15 minutes. The total test time is 2 hours and 45 minutes. So let's look here at the listening. So in the listening, we have 4 sections and there are 40 questions. All of these are based on real life listening situations and conversations. This is because you will need these skills in your everyday life. The skills that you need are to study the range of topics and tasks, listen out for specific information, okay? Understand the gist. The gist is the general meaning of the text, because sometimes we can be listening to a conversation about the news, about coronavirus, but if we don't understand what coronavirus is or the tone, then it can be difficult to follow what this conversation is about. Then, of course, we have to understand the speaker's tone and opinion. One thing is listening to a scientist talk about coronavirus. The other thing is listening to Trump talk about it. They both have opinions, but they have a different tone. Okay, so we need to know to interpret these differences because it will improve our learning. These are all aspects of the skills you need for the listening exam. Distractors. What are distractors? These are included here to try and distract you and make it difficult for you to understand what's happening in the listening. For example, they will say, the man is from China. But then in the text, in the multiple choice questions, they say, did the man leave China? And you say, no, he's from China. We don't know. So these are distractors. And again, we'll work on these. Let's move on here to, okay, yeah, the recording is only played once, okay? You can't listen to it again. This is difficult. So I'm going to teach you how to make everything go in the ear and stay and process it. We have different question types, multiple choice, okay, fill in the blanks. So you write the name of what they're referring to, And then we have to select some pictures and also take some notes of what they're saying. Then we move on to the reading. So you've got 3 passages and the total amount of questions is 40 again. All of these texts that are used in the exam are from books, magazines, journals, and newspapers. These are all real, okay? And the skills that you need is to find the detailed information, complete diagrams, and then you need to identify the tone, the views, and attitudes that the narrator have. As I said, similar to the listening. Then writing. This can be, for some, the easiest part, for others, the hardest. But it is without a doubt my favorite. And I will definitely teach you, I will focus on teaching you how to write the best essays and the best part 1 answers. So we have 2 tasks in the writing test. The first one should take about 20 minutes, all right? And this is a summary of at least 150 words looking at a graph. The graph can be a bar graph, line graph, or a pie graph. It can also be a table with information, a chart, or a diagram. And you'll see an example in a minute. Task 2 is a classic old school essay, and it has to be at least 250 words. I would say maximum 320, 350, but minimum 250. And it is more important, it's more valuable, it carries more weight in the marking than task 1. That's why you should dedicate 40 minutes to it and only 20 minutes to part 1, task 1. So here we've got an example of task 1. And here it's looking at British emigration. Okay, that's people leaving Britain to other destinations. So here we have the years, and here we need to identify the aspects of the bars. So the bars are the years, and then here on the x-axis, we have the countries. On the y-axis, we have the thousands. Okay, so here we have to summarize the information by selecting and reporting on the data that you see here. Might seem easy, but it can be tricky. This one is quite easy, but there are a lot of other ones. Some diagrams and some tables can be very complicated, but all with practice, we will know how to answer these to perfection. Task 2, you've got a question like the one here. Governments around the world spend too much money on treating illnesses and diseases and not enough on health, education, and prevention. Do you agree or disagree with this statement? Yes, exactly what I was thinking. This is a question that is, has been asked a lot at the moment, and all of these questions in task 2, they are very relevant to real life and to the current situations of the modern world. That's why IELTS is preparing you for the best of your capacities for the modern world and for our future. So here, the speaking. Some of you might be a bit scared, thinking, oh no, speaking, this is the scariest bit of the test. But you'll see that after a lot of practice, it's without doubt the easiest. So we have 3 parts, a total of around 15 minutes. This is going to be face-to-face interview between one candidate and one examiner. Okay. Part 1 is an introduction and interview about yourself, things that you like, where you're from, where did you study, what did you study, all individual information, daily routines and habits, hobbies, sports. Number 2 is a 2-minute maximum presentation, okay, which basically what this does is you are given a cue card and it says, describe a time that someone lent you a book. and you have to think, okay, someone lent me a book, and you have 1 minute to prepare, and then 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes to then present this, okay? There we go, yeah. And then finally, you'll have a free discussion, and this is all related to the part 2 topics. So lending and books. So they could ask you questions like, do you think it's a good idea to lend books to friends? You say yes, because you're giving them the opportunity to read a book, and lending is a kind thing. Also, books have a lot of knowledge, and we need to share that. Okay. Moving on here. So the test is interactive and is close to a real life situation as the test can get. All right. You need to speak fluently and link your ideas coherently. Pronunciation is a part of this, of course, but I think it's better to focus on fluency as well as pronunciation, and for you to expose and demonstrate your vocabulary that you've been learning through these 2 months. You need to also use the accurate grammar and the correct register. Don't say, yo, what's up, examiner? How you doing? Don't want any of that. Okay, we need to be nice and professional and use the right tone, the right register. However, we're not writing poetry, we're not writing an essay. We're human beings. We're communicating face to face with someone. This is something to keep in mind. Scoring. So here we have a little briefing here of the scoring. When I teach my IELTS students, I always aim for them to at least aim for 7.5. However, this depends. Some of my students come from Spanish-speaking countries and European-speaking countries where there's more of a culture of learning English from a young age. However, this will adapt, and it also depends on the level that you're wanting to achieve. But anything from 6 upwards is what we're going to be aiming at here with Bedayat. So you're awarded 5 scores, 1 for listening, 1 for reading, writing and speaking. So you have individual scores out of 9 for each section, and then 1, which is the average of all of them. Why do they do this? Perhaps your university where you're applying for, the job where you're applying for, or perhaps you're applying for a visa to a different country. They say, okay, reading and writing, you need a 5.5 or a 6, but speaking, you need an 8, and then an overall mark, an overall grade of 6.5. So here you can see where we need to maybe focus more on one of the categories compared to others. So course outline, as you know, it's a 24-hour course. There'll be 16 lessons, 1.5 hours each, twice a week, 90 minutes each lesson. And as I said, class preparation and homework tasks are essential so that when you start the lesson, we are all present and we all know what we're going to be doing, and we're all on the same level, and we've all done our homework, and we can start learning together. So what you're going to see now is a rough guide. This is not the specific one that you will get once you've signed up to the course, and this does not include any of the homework. So in the week 1, we'll be doing the introduction and focusing on the writing part 2, as well as looking at past papers. Week 2, we'll introduce the writing that is part 1, and we'll introduce the listening. And from this week, from the second week, you're going to be doing a listening test every week. Okay, so that is more than 6 listening tests, because you're going to be doing a listening test every week, so it's fresh. There's no point focusing only on writing for 3 weeks, only speaking for 3 weeks, only reading and listening for the other weeks. We need to do this all together, because on exam day, you're doing everything at the same time. And then week 3, we'll introduce the reading a little bit. And from there onwards, that's going to be added to your homework as well. More reading past papers every week. And then week 4, that's when we'll start with the speaking. Speaking will be week 4 and week 5. But remember, we're still going to be doing a lot of listening and a lot of writing and reading. As we approach week 6, you're going to be doing more writing tasks, and here we'll be swapping some feedback. Okay, a lot of feedback here, so that your last 2 weeks you have the writing skills that you need. Last week, we're going to do an overview, answer questions that you need. Week 8, we'll be doing mock tests, especially with reading, writing, and listening, because we'll have already done speaking mock tests on week 6. And these speaking mock tests are going to be individual. So during each lesson, we will take, I will take a student and we'll do a 15-minute mock test, which I will grade for you and give feedback. Then it's your turn. You need to start studying. And I'm also going to give you a lot of tips of what to do between this time, between the last day and the test. A mock test, I've seen a question here. Mock test, okay, M-O-C-K, is a fake test. So it is exactly the same test you're going to be doing, but maybe from last year or from last month, so that you're familiar with what you're going to be doing on the test day. And mock tests, we will try and make them as realistic as possible, so that they're as similar as a real life test as you can. And then finally, it's your test, and I'll be giving you some tips of what to do on the day as well. As I said before, what to eat, even what pens to take, all the little details that will make you, that might give you that extra edge to get that grade that you're looking for. Here's some other information about IELTS that is on the slide here. So we will be sharing this slide with you later, so you can look at this. There's also a website here, ielts.org/recognition, which gives you information about where IELTS is recognized as an international qualification. And also take note that IELTS treats the test takers with all fairness and respect, and tries to avoid cultural bias. What does cultural bias mean? A bias is being close-minded and only looking at one worldview, one perspective. Here, it tries to look at all native speakers, okay, English, North American, British, Australian, and New Zealand, but also focusing mainly on British, New Zealand, and Australian. Also, we have some cultural differences. So we're going to use these cultural differences as it would be with Iraqi culture, or we'll also have students from Syria and Middle Eastern countries. And we will see where maybe the listening might be a bit difficult. There might be some vocabulary or some situations that are harder to understand because of cultural differences. And we will take this into account, and we will work on this and make it fun as well, because this is also a chance to learn about a different culture, and for you as well to teach me a bit about your culture. Excellent. So that is the end of my presentation, and now we're going to move on to a bit of questions. This here is just the information for further info. I'm sure you have the contact already for Bedayat platform, but yeah, I'm going to finish my presentation here, and I just want to thank you one more time for assisting here, and now we can start with the questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. George, about this useful information. So right now I will allow people to unmute themselves.
Mhm.
So they can share their question in chat box or in speaking.
Perfect.
So we have some question in the chat box.
Mhm.
We can. So they ask about mock test, and you answered, I think. And they
Mm.
said at end of course we will have exams, same what we will do it in like the real one. So
Exactly. So I will be providing all of these mock tests. So a mock is like a joke. In a way, it's saying joke test. So this is not the real test, but it's as similar as possible. And I will be providing you a lot, at least 2 or 3 full mock tests for you to do between the last day of the course and your exam. And don't forget, we're going to be doing lots of mock tests in class, and also I will be giving them as homework. I've also seen one question here about part 2 of speaking. Is it okay, Wasim, if I move on to
yeah,
that
yeah,
and
yeah,
answer that question?
sure.
Perfect. So part 2, I didn't explain too well. So first thing in part 2, you've finished part 1, and the examiner says, okay, this is part 2. And they give you a piece of paper. On the paper, they'll, in fact, what I'm going to do, I'm going to share one with you. I'm going to share a possible one that will be here. Okay. Okay, I'm going to just share my screen 1 second. Is the feature, okay, share. Can you all see this here? So it says, a new public facility in your city that improves local life. So this is what the examiners give you. Now you will read this together. It says, describe a new public facility in your city that improves local life. You need to say what it is, when it was built, what people can do there, and explain how it influences the local people. Now you have 1 minute to prepare. You get your paper and your pen and you write down. You have 1 minute to take as many notes as possible. I will teach you all the techniques of the best notes to take. And then you have 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes to speak and give your presentation on this topic. Is that clear? Perfect. Good. So if you've got any more questions, please send a message on the chat.
Excuse me, can I ask my question orally?
Of course, yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much for this wonderful presentation and so useful. I have a couple questions actually. The first one, are there individual courses or on? Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you. So the lessons are going to be from 3 to 8 people at a time, and that will be part of the course. So it's going to be a group session. And this can also be an advantage because it means that we get to focus and we can work in pairs with someone who is a similar level as you. And that can also mean an opportunity for you to work with your classmates offline. Then there will be individual sessions. These are the feedback sessions for the writing and the speaking mock tests. So those will be the only individual one-on-one lessons as part of this course.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Okay, can I?
Perfect. Mariam, yeah?
Can I ask something? Okay, I appreciate your best, Mr. George, but I want to ask you, you give as a subject today, okay, about coronavirus.
Mm-hmm.
So what the other subjects would you give as the next session.
Okay, so this was just an example to make it a bit of a current events, current situations.
Yeah, I understand you.
Mhm.
Okay.
But there'll be many different topics. However, what's good about IELTS is that although there are a wide range of topics, for example, in the writing task 2, there are always 5 topics that are repetitive. These are with science, the environment, education, culture, and technology.
Very good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, Mr. George, just to make it clear for everybody, actually this is like introduction session, and this is just to give like information about the IELTS. Then after that, we will have the course, which will start in the first week of May for people who are interested to join. So because many people were asking here in the chat books about the next session, actually we will, first of all, we need to know how many people are interested to join. Then we will start the course. Our plan is to start it the first week of May. So this is about our plan. And as well, I have one question from Mr. Majd. I don't know if you can read it. Is it showing for you?
Yes, okay. So yeah, the one with working with you individually. Okay, so we'll be doing obviously the group work, but with the writing. So I'll give you the writing task, and you will send this to me. And I'm not going to correct this during the lesson. I will correct this offline, and we'll use Google Docs to share documents. And I will give all your feedback, and this will be sent to you individually. Okay, so all the writing feedback will be sent with you individually. And then for the speaking part, we will organize a 15-minute lesson plan, so 15-minute section, which will be focusing on your speaking. And this will be maybe before the lesson, after the lesson, in some cases during the lesson. Of course, we need to see that all depends on the number of students that will be enrolled in the course. I hope that answers the question there. Also, as Wasim said, we need to basically look, and they have to manage the applicants and organize everyone into groups. And once we have an idea of the demand and how many people are interested and are going to take the course, then we do a level assessment. Perhaps we have a lot of students, so we'd separate them into groups depending on level, so that everyone can benefit as much as possible. And the other thing is, next month is, well, very soon is Ramadan too. So we will be taking this into account. We'll be doing lessons later. I don't normally work this late. I normally do most of my work in the morning, but we will make the timetable flexible so that it fits in to Ramadan. If anyone's got any more questions there, Wasim, I'll be happy to help.
Excuse me.
Hello, Shaima.
Hello, I'm Shaima from Iraq. I appreciate your efforts and thank you for your time. I ask about the next week. What about the homework?
So what is your question with the homework? How I will organize the homework?
Yes. Can you assess our writing, task 1, task 2?
Yes, yeah. So as I mentioned before, I will be doing 2 feedback sessions for the writing task 2 and one of them for writing task 1. But even though you think, I would like more feedback for writing task 1, I will give you a model answer for you to also assess yourself and to see how you could have answered the question in task 1. Task 2 is different, and that's why we're offering more feedback for the writing task 2. And your homework question there, so let's say we do lessons Mondays and Tuesdays. Mondays, I'll give you, let's say, reading and listening homework for the Thursday. Then Thursday, the homework I'd give you over the weekend, which is when normally people have a bit more time to prepare and to do their homework. This would be the writing homework, where you've got more time and you can dedicate more to it.
Thank you very much. Really exciting and happy to appreciate with you.
That's very kind. Thank you for listening.
Mr. George, can you send us the recording of the stations?
Of course, at the end of the recording, at the end of the presentation, Wasim from Bedayat is going to make it all available for you.
Yes, sure. We will share the link of the record as well the presentation, the PowerPoint with all people who joined the form. Yeah.
I've seen a question there from Jack Habib. These are all things that these are quite this detailed question, which I think this is what I will be doing during the lesson. So I'll be giving you tips to improve your essays. When the course starts.
Please, one more question, if you don't mind, please.
Of course, we do.
Thank you very much. Regarding to the feedback, you have just said you give a feedback for a writing task. What about the speaking task?
Yeah, so the speaking task as well, I will do a one-on-one assessment, and once that is finished, I will be taking notes while you're writing, while you're speaking. So I'll be writing notes, and at the end of that, I'll give you your feedback and I'll give you a grade.
Thank you very much. That's what I need. Yeah, thank you.
Perfect. If there are any more questions, or perhaps Wasim, you would like to mention something?
Yeah, actually, some people were asking about the assessment. So, for example, they are not sure about their level, or is it good for them to join IELTS, or it's early for them?
So this is a difficult question, and this is a question that at the end of the day, it's not for me to answer. This is an individual decision, and I'm going to provide Wasim with, there's a video, okay, that is online, which says, do you need IELTS and will you benefit from it? And I think you should give that a watch, and then it's like a self-assessment, because this is an investment. If you want IELTS just to have IELTS, maybe don't do it. Maybe just improve your English in a different way. I think IELTS is better to have to look really good on your CV if you've got a goal in the professional world to, especially nowadays, everything is going to be going through video calls, and you're going to need your English to communicate with overseas partners and so on. So this is always a big strength on your CV. And also, as I said before, if you're applying for visas in other countries to study, university, postgraduate, master degrees. So at the end of the day, it's about assessment, but it's also about what you really want. I hope that's answered some questions there.
Yeah, I have one question here about some, maybe you answered before, but he is asking if there is like, a target, for example, just in a specific skill, for example, speaking or writing. So in this case, how can we do like customized target for specific people?
Good question. So maybe we have a group of 5 people, 5 students here, and one of them needs a speaking grade 7, and another one needs an overall speaking, needs a writing 7.5. Okay, so one student really needs to improve their writing, the other one really needs to improve speaking. I will focus on that, and I will take this into consideration when giving homework and the feedback as well.
Yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
But yeah, because the maximum is going to be 8 students, and this is not too many. It's not a big classroom. It's still very specific, and this gives us room to make individual lesson plans as well, depending on people's objectives. I've seen some. Hello, Ismail.
How are you?
Well, thank you.
I have to
go ahead with your question. Mm-hmm.
I have to learn grammar. I need degree.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Could you say that again, please?
I have to learn grammar.
Mm-hmm.
When I need degree?
You need to learn grammar for a degree, or if I agree?
Yes. Yes.
For studying a degree?
Yes.
Okay, well, grammar is a big part of learning English, and of course we will focus on this, but we look at everything. So the grammar will appear in the reading, in the listening, in the writing, and also in the speaking. I'm not sure if that answered your question, Ismail. Okay, so I can see some people. So Shaima said she needs a 6 in speaking, perhaps. Widya 7.5. So these aren't huge differences. And as I said before, depending on this, all depends on the group size. We will adapt, and we'll also perhaps partner people up who have a similar objective to reach, and this will also benefit everyone on an individual level. Mohammed Abdullah says needs a 7, so 7, 7.5, 6. Mm-hmm.
Hi everyone.
Hello.
Mr. George, I have a suggestion for you and everybody.
Mm-hmm.
What about ending the course in a month? We need 24 hours till the end. You said that.
So doing it in an intensive 1-month course.
Yes. Instead of studying 1.5 hours in a week, we can study 3 hours a week.
So it is 2 sessions of 90 minutes. So that would be 3 hours every week, and that is for 8 weeks in total. If we did it in 1 month, we would be doing 4 lessons every week. So let's say from Monday to Thursday, and that is 1.5 hours every day. This is perhaps, it can benefit some people who are in a rush and who have a good mentality and discipline for intensive courses, but this also depends on others. And I think what we're aiming for is a 2-month course, 2 lessons every week, 90 minutes each lesson. So that is 3 hours every week.
Yes, you are right. And someone said you can void. Okay, and I think if you agree, it's a good thing to void about it, and shortening the time to 1 month instead of 2 months.
Sure, that would be something that you can talk later with
if the Bedayat platform is agree.
Exactly. Okay. These are all good ideas and proposals. I'll let Wasim mention there.
In this case, if we had like a group of people need the same, like need very intensive course in 1 month. So in this case, we can open class, but we need a group of people. We cannot do it just for 1 or 2, you know.
Yes,
So this is the case.
exactly. You can vote. I think if you agree.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the thing. If you really want 1 month intensives, get in touch with Wasim, and if we have more than 3-4 people that want this, then that can be made possible, and that would probably be starting in May. However, also taking into consideration you'd be doing Ramadan. Is this maybe the best thing to do an intensive course during Ramadan? This is all your personal ideas as well.
I think in the chats, I see most of us, the exam is near. Like Shema said, my exam is next month. And Nihat Ali says, yes, I am with more hours. I think if you void, it's a good thing. Because my exam is on the 1st of June.
Okay, 1st of June.
The beginning of June. My exam will be on the beginning of June.
Okay. Yeah, okay, that's understood. Okay, so maybe if we have this case with like 4 or 5 people, we can do it. So yeah, so for example, Shaima and we have like 3 people right now. So maybe it's a good idea. We can also Jack. Yeah.
Jack, Nihat Ali, Shema, and me, Azhar.
The people are speaking. Yeah, there's a lot of demand for this. So this would be something that myself and Wasim will discuss afterwards. Yeah.
Can I speak, Mr. George, please?
According to, actually, in my opinion, 1 month, actually, it will be a little bit stressful. However, I have to follow the majority. Yeah.
So here we have a conflict, a small conflict, but there are positives and negatives with both situations. Okay, so
Indeed.
yeah, and this also depends on your lifestyle. Maybe you're not working at the moment, or you're studying and you really need to do the exam next month. Maybe you have a family and you're working 10 hours every day and you can't do another 90 minutes every day.
Indeed.
Plus the homework.
For example, I'm working at the hospital. You know, that working at the hospital so stressful. You know,
of course, and especially during these times. Yeah.
Indeed. Yeah.
I'll send you strength there for these next months coming.
So, Mr. George, you have different ideas and we have different needs. So we can, the Bedayat platform can make 2 classrooms. Each classroom more than 5 people, 5 students. If you have students, one classroom is the intensive one, and one classroom is preparing for 2 months.
I think this would be something we have to take into account now, but also working on timetables. How's it going to work with timetables? If we were to do an intensive, it would probably have to be earlier during the day. So this also, I have to also look at my schedule, because I'm still teaching. I still teach. I have other lessons and other students too, which I can't abandon. Same as I will not abandon you if I take you on as my students. I need to keep with my old students too. I hope you understand that.
You want that if you agree and you have time.
Of course, and this is something that we're going to discuss with Bedayat platform.
Yes. Okay. So actually, we will agree on this, and you know, we will do our best to satisfy your requirement. So yeah, we will do it. some people were asking about the registration link. Actually, we will share with you this video recording and presentation and the information about how to register and all the information. And then the customer service of Bedayat will call you during this like next 3 days to take your feedback about registration, and then so we can start beginning of May or the first week of May, inshallah.
Perfect. Just to say goodbye, thank you all for listening and tuning in here to this presentation. Thank you as well, Bedayat platform, and Wasim, thank you all for your valuable questions.
Thank you.
I look forward to working with you soon and that we reach an agreement all together. Take care.
Thanks.
Inshallah.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
Mr. George.
Perfect.
Thanks.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you,
Thank
George.
you.
Thank you.
Appreciate.
Thank you, George. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. You're
Thank
welcome.
you. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Thank you.
Have a good time. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks and goodbye.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you. Goodbye. Nice presentation.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Nice presentation.
Thank you very much.
Thank you and goodbye.
Thank you.
Have a nice time.
Thank you very much for this valuable presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
We
Thank you
appreciate
for
it.
listening. You take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
غدير غدير